And everybody, welcome to the Arkansas Diamond Report with Dudley, Dawson. I'm Jason. I want to thank you guys for jumping on with us today. It's the day after Thanksgiving, November 29th, Friday. Got Arkansas basketball yesterday that didn't quite go the way some did expect it. Dudley, that was a little bit of an ugly game.
They Illinois started the game with the Ledmo run, I think 14-2 for
Yeah.
our single second. You've got to play better defense on those threes. I don't think they were ready to play defense. I mean, I think some people were talking more about the offense, but from watching, I thought it was the defense early on, and after that point, it was pretty even. But you can't give a team like the Fighting Illini that big a head start. And I see people are worried. But to me, you've lost to Baylor and you've lost to Illinois, and I think that those are two very good teams, and you're going to get better. The biggest thing is just healthy and be able to play the 30 minutes or so that showed him as a first team all SEC conference player last year at Tennessee.
Yep.
And Donnell Davis is going to have to be a little bit more forceful. He had 6 assists yesterday, but he's a scorer. He was a scorer who led his team to the Final Four. So he's got to be a little bit more forceful, I think.
Yeah, he does. I noticed that Jonas, whenever he got on the floor for the first couple of minutes, you could tell that he was kind of laboring on that foot as well. He wasn't as nimble as you've seen him before. Almost kind of looked almost like Mike Tyson in the ring a little bit, where he looked really kind of stiff. He really did. You could tell he wasn't in game shape.
That's that's skill. If you can't play, you're not practicing either. And Kevin McPherson obviously updates us all the time on whether he's going to play or not. But you look now, if he's playing, he's not going to play very many minutes. I don't know the answer. Medical, not a doctor, but at the same time, it seems he'd be better served being able to get to a point where he can play 20 minutes than.
So let's get to the ladies here for just a few minutes. Let's see, it was on Sunday. They looked pretty good against A-State. They were able to stop that 2-game skid that they had. They if I'm not mistaken, they had to come back against A-State, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they were down 5 points early and held for really most of the first half. I said it in my preview article. It wasn't a must-win game season, but at the same time, we all know what the narrative would have been if they had come in and won, as UAPB did last year. And this team, which I think the collective coaching staff and the players know it's going to be tough in the SEC for them to win games because of all the talent in there. They did something I thought that was, I think the right thing to do, and that was get the ball inside. Is I joked with Mike Neighbors on the postgame press conference. It's much cool. 3-pointers are cool, but made layup and are cooler. I mean, those are high percentage shots, and the way this team operates, they have to do that, and then get your some occasional threes from Izzy and Kiki and then Jenna Lawrence and the others.
Yep. So kind of want to look forward to what the ladies have coming up today, if I'm not mistaken, and tomorrow. They're down in South Beach, and who doesn't like Thanksgiving on the beach?
4:45 this afternoon against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, you don't know that they played the toughest schedule, but look to be a pretty good team. It should be a pretty even matchup, at least go. Yeah, it plays itself out. We'll see who the tryptophan got. What was interesting during the press conference for this tournament, he was talking about how they were going to try to have a Thanksgiving dinner that brought a lot of different foods from a lot of different countries because he's got a lot of different kids. So that was probably an interesting Thanksgiving dinner they had, and now we'll see which team is ready at 4:45 to play on something called Baller TV. I think I'm going to follow on the game stat deal. I don't know if I want to get into Baller TV for
I was gonna say because I mean you hear enough mess about Flow Sports TV. I mean, a thing called Baller TV. I don't know about, man. Uh, you know, Oklahoma State is 6-0 this year. And like you talked about, they may not have played the easiest schedule. They've had a couple of blowout wins as well. With Arkansas in the spot that they're in right now, I'm not. I don't want to try to put it this way, but it almost feels like this might be a statement win for them if they can get a win on the road against Oklahoma State and maybe try to propel that into some and start stacking some wins.
Are you talking about today's women's game or Saturday's football game? Because
It's the truth.
obviously Arkansas's women's basketball team 4-3 now. As he mentioned, staying above 500 is probably good for these kids' confidence. Although you said, but the futility that Arkansas has had against Missouri in football, it's kind of
Tough.
Bring those two together. At least the girls get to play inside today in a warm area instead of what I'm looking forward to watching a snow game or a cold game. Right up the Lambeau Field alley.
Man, I'm telling you, I looked on the weather app before we came on, and they changed the forecast just a smidge. Where before it was supposed to be snow in the morning and tapering off in the afternoon. Now it's snow in the morning and showers in the afternoon. I that's got to be. It's going to probably, if that's the case, it's going to be changing back and forth from snow to rain. That has got to, in some way, shape, or fashion, favor Arkansas with the ground and pound that they have, because whenever you get into the fourth quarter, those defensive linemen do not want to see, a Jaquindon Jackson, if he's able to sustain his health throughout the game, or an R-Dub that has the shiftiness. That's got to benefit Arkansas in some way, because I know that the Missouri defense has not been the best this year, but you cannot expect Taylor Green to put it in the air too much tomorrow just because of the conditions.
And I believe you're right about that. And obviously, Rashard Dominion had 73 of the 86 yards on that last scoring drive they had last week. It was the best he's looked all year.
Yeah.
Let have Braylon Mitchell too. He certainly showed us some stuff today. Hope he sticks around, and it appears that both he and Sam Pittman are going to be sticking around now, which maybe was something we didn't know for sure in the middle of the year, but I think that's obviously I don't know if you noticed, talked about, but reports that Hunter Yurchek is a candidate for the athletic South Carolina. That could just shake up everything around here if that happens. He's probably going to get a raise either there or here. So
yeah, and that buddy of mine had sent me a link yesterday with that, saying that there was a possibility that Sam Pittman might be looking at Sam Pittman, Hunter Yurchek might be looking at South Carolina. He was a candidate, or is a candidate for that job. I'm sure that Ray Tanner, in one way, shape, or fashion, he's going to have a hand in who they're bringing along to fill that AD spot. I know that they're also looking at the AD at Georgia Tech as well. With the fundraising that is going on in the state of Arkansas, do you think that that's going to play a point, or at least play a part in what Hunter Yurchek is going to do? Because let's face it, he's had a hard time and some hard sledding so far with this NIL collective stuff in Edge.
Yeah, and I think that has to do less with his actions and more to do with the way the fans have been, I guess, less informed is what I'm going to say. Arkansas started behind, with, whether it was in the state legislature early on or whether it was, in the execution of the plan. A lot of other schools were out ahead. It appears that Ole Miss's $20 million didn't buy them a playoff spot. It certainly bought them a good. I'm sure that people who make money above my pay grade make decisions the same way I do. What's best for your family? What's best for your future?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a place you want to continue to work? I'll just leave it at all that. Yeah, obviously he's getting some grief, but also he's getting some positive vibes too. He obviously got Cal in here. I know a lot of people give John Tyson credit for that, but 6 of one, half a dozen the other. Dude's here.
Yeah.
And whether it's 4-8 last year or the possibility of 7-5, 8-5, or 6-7 this year with this football team, which is still a possibility. You've got some decisions still to be made, I guess, in terms of where everybody's going to be next year. Eli Drinkwitz, Missouri's coach, certainly talks a lot.
He does.
He made a point that I thought was very cognizant on during, I think it was his first press conference this week on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Turn the page Saturday from 2024 to 2025 because you got signing day coming up next week. You've got the portal transfer. I know that Sam Pittman is meeting with 6 players that he hopes will come back. One of them being Josh Braun, who offensive lineman who walked last week. But just try to keep that open whether he wanted to or not, just have that opportunity.
Yeah.
Walking from Missouri, but we all know he's going to, assumes he's going to go because he's going to be a first-round draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
It is a situation that there's just so much to get going on Sunday. There's no break anymore.
Mm-mm. No, there's not. And Sam alluded to on Monday with the NIL. Talk to me next week, and you might have a different answer with some of the going on with the NIL because you like you said, he has the 6 players that are coming in that he wants to talk to, this core group of guys that he wants to bring back next year. And I feel like Braylon Russell needs to be the focal point because he's basically the backfiller for Jaquindon Jackson from this year. For whatever reason, we didn't see him whenever he was healthy the last couple of weeks. Now he's questionable on the report that was released on Wednesday. I think it's important for him to be able to play this week, not only for Sam, and I'm going to go into this here in just a few minutes with this schedule next year, and there's reasons why, but not only that, but for him to say, hey, you know what, this is some good faith. I was out there. I was putting my neck on the line for you guys, and this is what I can bring to you next year, but this is what I need as well.
Yeah, and that certainly we know there were a couple of confusing things in Coach's press conference the other day when he started the NIL deal. People asked where you're going to have more NIL money, and he seemed to say yes on that. And then later question was, tell us a little bit more about that. And he started talking about the revenue sharing at that point. Maybe it wouldn't be more NIL money, but more, everybody's getting the revenue sharing in January. So you were to pass it out and how it was now going to be like an NFL salary cap type deal. That was a little confusing to me. Sam's a great dude. There's no doubt about that. He's had his highs as a football coach, both as an assistant and head coach, his lows, the head coach. I believe he understands the NIL in that game better than me. But I stay steadily confused with the explanations from college head coaches and college administrators. Mm-hmm. What exactly is going on here? All I know is that if you have enough money, more players will come to your school, and that's just how. That's the biggest thing I know.
And what I find interesting too is you look at Texas A&M from 2 years ago, you look at Ole Miss this year, and they don't have a spot locked down in the final. Last year Final Four, this year Final 12. It shows you that no matter how much money you have to spend, if you don't have the right collection of players with the right attitude and also the right fit for your system, you're not going to make a CFP. You can't have an Ole Miss where they crap the bed against Kentucky and Florida and those sorts of things you have to have locked down. Again, it's not going to be the most money you have. It's how well can your evaluators find the right pieces to fit your system. And I feel like kind of like yesterday with Arkansas, and Kevin, really had a great tweet. It said it wasn't the best day for them as a team. It was just it was a collection of single players out there playing basketball.
Yeah.
Paraphrasing.
Certainly,
Can't have that on football.
Certainly final out that I played more. By the way, a couple things. Number one, I want to apologize. I keep drifting off there, but I'm
That's okay.
battling cold, and I don't think anybody wants to watch me wipe my. So if I go away, you know.
No problem.
The second thing is obviously let's take the Dallas Cowboys, for an example. Obviously, I do that a lot. That's my professional football team. They
Yeah. Dudley, for some reason, I'm not catching you on our end. I'm not sure why I'm not able to hear you real quick, but maybe if you jumped out of it and then come back in, I might be able to hear you. I'm not able to hear you though, really, right now. Hold on just a second. I'm gonna take you off screen. Well, let's see if Dudley can get kind of reconnected here for just a minute. But I do want to kind of reiterate, if you guys want to have any thoughts, good, bad, ugly, go ahead and throw those up there in the comments. We'll go over those during the rest of this podcast. Also, if you have any score predictions for Arkansas and Missouri tomorrow, that'll be just throw those up in the comments or on Twitter or on Hogville. I'll have a thread up there for you guys here in just a little bit. Dudley, if you can hear me, I'm not able to hear you for some reason. If you could just back out and then come back in, that might help. Okay. So real quick, again, throw your comments, questions, concerns up there. Good, bad, or ugly. If Hunter Yurachek does end up taking the South Carolina job, that says a couple of things. One, Sam Pittman might be on notice because it seems like that Hunter Yurachek has been Sam's biggest ally to this point of keeping his job. Unlike with Mike Anderson, whenever Hunter brings Mike in and says, "Hey, what's your outlook for next year?" And Mike didn't have that. I mean, I don't think that's what Sam had in mind. We'll bring Dudley back on here. Dudley, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I was just making a point really quick that if Hunter Yurachek does end up going to South Carolina, that might put Sam on notice, because it feel like that Hunter has been Sam's biggest advocate behind the scenes and out front in a season where last year he wanted to give Sam another chance. He saw what he did with the defense. He wanted to see if he could do that with the offense. He has done that. That's why he got this year and next year, really. But if there's a change in administration, that might be the really the warning sign for Sam, saying, "Hey, this might be coming to a close."
What was interesting yesterday was the speculation, with South Carolina job under your deck. There was an inordinate amount of people who were saying, "Houston, that's back. How about him as athletic director?" I thought that would be quite the fundraiser guy.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. I do not want to see any changes in terms of, I don't root for people to get fired. I don't root for people to leave, all that. As a beat writer, you shouldn't, that's unethical to throw out there anyway. As Mike Irvin pointed out the other day, the only person he's ever called for to be fired was Chad Morris, and he just, he saw what all of us saw, after the guy get here, that he was a very good assistant coach and a very good coach at SMU, but did not have what it took here in the SEC and not what it took at Arkansas. And overall, we know that Sam Pittman has taken the program out of the ditch. It may not be soaring, but, for the most part, it's been on level ground, except for last year. Yeah. As Eli Drinkwitz pointed out, and Sam has as well, that he's been invited for bowl game. That happened. But this team league, when you picked 14, expectations were down, and you're just barely getting over that. 7-5, 6-6 can't be the standard you want. So I understand why people are upset, but I also understand why they, it appears have made a decision that they're going to move forward with everybody that they have this year and just try to infuse some more money in there.
Yep. And I think one of the reasons why a lot of folks are upset with the way that things have kind of went this year with the football team, and last year was a debacle. Sam is trending back up in the right direction. He has a quarterback that has made mistakes, but I made this point earlier in the year or last year. I'm sorry. It would be a hell of a job for Sam to turn it around if he had to replace an offensive coordinator, possibly a wide receivers coach, a starting quarterback, and have that new quarterback also learn a new system, which has all happened and went to a bowl. That right there says that he knows what he's doing. It's like he doesn't forget how to coach overnight. He's been able to bring in the pieces that have started to turn this thing around a little bit, and you have to give him that next year to be able to say, hey, this is where we're at. But a lot of people forget, Dudley, what happened with Bobby his first year here. I think he has better talent now than he did whenever he took over for John Allen, that train. But
the Little Rock game, obviously was so everybody was wondering, maybe it's not then. Obviously, he came back, and you have to give the in-state kids a lot of credit for the fact that Joe Adams, the Warren kids, Ledbetter, the quarterback hospital. I'm having a brain freeze here. The Youngblood, that was the one who kept the class together, I think, from Camden. It's one of those things that I think one of the things that is working on the periphery here is saw a decent recruiting class out of state, maybe a good recruiting class out of state, but the in-state one, they've let several out, and several have gone to Missouri. Including Richfield last year. Now, none of those are making big time inputs, although Jordan, they had a couple obviously with Pine Bluff that have done pretty good. But it's that is a thing that if you're trying to save your job here, when you take hits like that, it gets noticed by the fans who are ready to see you move on down the road. But as we've talked about, everything's fluid, but it appears that that's how they're going to go into next season is with this current coaching staff, unless somebody gets a head coaching job somewhere else, like T. Will.
Yep. That's something for a lot of people to watch out for, because I think over the next few weeks, there's been coaches that have made runs at coordinators and position coaches here on staff. I don't see that not happening again this year, just for the simple fact that you look at the numbers alone, that T. Will and Woodson and their defense has pretty much kind of stayed, minus the touchdowns on defense. Other than that, they've pretty much stayed pretty much par for what they did last year. And then this year, the offense and how the turnaround has been. I fully anticipate that there are some other schools that are going to make some runs at some of these coaches. And that to me says that Sam did a hell of a job in hiring over this last season, because you have schools that are coming after those guys.
Yeah, and I'm anxious to see how things work here in December. As I said, they have to get right to work. I'm sure that there are some players who are going to want more money or be out the door. If you don't play, usually you're out the door, and especially in this day and age of free agency in college football. Our guy Otis is going to be busy in the next couple of weeks, and we'll do our best to help him out. With everything that's going on. But man, it's December used to be not a slow month, but not balls to the walls as it is now.
I was going to say, because if I'm not mistaken, you, me, and Otis were all on portal watch, and watching social medias. Matter of fact, with my Twitter account, I've got all of the Razorbacks followed on that and on Instagram as well. So that way, if there's something that comes down the pipe that we don't see yet, then we got that group chat going that as we see stuff, we're just letting it drop too. Before I get you out of here, I got to ask you, what did you guys have for Thanksgiving dinner yesterday?
Oh, my old beautiful wife, Petra, did a tremendous job. She did, started cooking on Wednesday, picked it back up Thursday morning. The biggest hit, or the biggest, probably the most intriguing thing, I don't want to say the biggest hit, but we saw a commercial about Cajun turkey from Popeyes.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I started calling around after that, and they were out of them in Springdale, out of them in Fayetteville, but they had 3 left in Rogers. So I raced up to the Rogers Popeye, and they had already gotten rid of one. So I got the second to last Cajun turkey. So that turkey was with us for a couple of weeks in the freezer. It got broke out, but she made squash casserole. There was mac and cheese. There was banana pudding.
Nice.
Mashed potatoes, green beans. She is my wife / nutritionist. Make sure that there's a lot of healthy stuff in there. But yeah, and it just, it was great. And then we of course watched, we've been watching weird movies for Thanksgiving. The kids had one of the 4 kids here for Thanksgiving. We'll have more for Christmas, and then have more next year. We now have married kids, and another one that's probably soon to be married. So we're having to start to balance the old Thanksgiving, Christmas. But if you look at his face right here, this was putting his foot down next year for one of those 2. So,
did the grandkid make an appearance, or is he going to make an appearance?
No, we are going to see him in 2 weeks from tomorrow, and he's 9 months now. He's traveled on a plane once. They thought it'd be a little bit much, so we're making that trip up there. And I think in January we're trying to go see our daughter Camille in Denver. Trying to do that when the Boston Celtics actually play.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, that'd be a great matchup too.
The problem is that's on a Tuesday, and that will cost us a little bit more if we work on it. I'll be on the computer a lot today, writing, playing it. Petra will be in here in a little bit, and your gifts are being brought today, kids and grandkids and friends. We getting it today or through Monday, I should say.
Yeah, we did Thanksgiving over here at my house. Had my parents and my grandmother over, which she's 90, man, lives by herself, and
That's a good run, man. That's a good run.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, she's got great genes, and I hope they pass that on to me, because she's 90, lives by herself. She came over. We're gonna pick her up. And this is actually, yesterday was my first of 3 Thanksgivings, and so
yeah.
And now I'm gonna tell you, I don't know how Sunday's gonna go, because I think I might be on some borrowed time there as far as the old calories go, because got one today down with my brother and Van Buren. And then we're going to come back, do Saturday football game here, and then got another one on Sunday. I don't know how that's going to go yet, but yesterday we ate ourselves silly. We had so much leftover. Matter of fact, my brother's going to get some of those leftovers today, so I don't have to cook quite as much, because, man, I did a lot of cooking yesterday, and it's super fun. I love doing it. But afterwards, you just got to sit there and go, damn, I don't know if I can do this 2 or 3 times.
My contribution was getting out and buying the groceries. I actually like to go to the grocery store, put my headphones in. If I don't put my headphones in, everybody wants to know about sports and all that, so I have to keep going. And try not to be rude, but so you have to remember to take those things. And if you see me out at your local Aldi or Walmart or Harps, just remember that I'm locked in. I'm locked in at the grocery store, and tap me on the shoulder if you have to. Not trying to be rude, just locked in.
Oh man, if I see you in the store, I'm stopping you. I don't care. But no, okay. Before we get out of here, I want to throw out something to you, and I think you'll agree with me on this. And I know that people give Sam a lot of crap sometimes, and I'm going back to Sam Pittman for just a second right before we get out of here. But there's a point I'm making. I know that people give Sam Pittman a lot of crap for time management, how he handles the clock sometimes, how he handles timeouts. Now, if you look at Matt Eberflus yesterday and the end of the Lions and Bears game, you've never seen Sam Pittman make that big of a debacle. I don't care if he's trying to give the quarterback the reins to say, I need you to make that decision. You have got to have the nuts to go in there and say, this is all not working. We need to call a timeout and not let the last 30 plus seconds run off the clock, not call a timeout and then lose the damn game.
Yeah, I'm sure that he is a good guy, and I'm sure he's very smart about football, but they've now developed a name. He's been Uberflus. You've been Uberflus, and at your own team. I give Chicago a lot of credit. They came back. I thought Detroit, there at one point, I think it was 36 plays for Detroit and 6 or 9 for Chicago at the time. Chicago's got a future. It's just not now. They're going to get a good draft pick. It's interesting. People say, don't you want the Cowboys to lose and get a better draft pick? If that happens, I'll be okay with it. But I just can't. That's not my mentality. I don't do the losing thing, and all that. So but it's been fun the last 2 weeks watching them win because it wasn't that much fun the first 7.
No doubt, and I feel like this before we get out of here. If you find somebody with a loser's mentality, I'll show you a loser. That's my whole mantra. That's why I don't like to see teams that we cover lose, because 1, it's easier to write about a win than a loss, and 2, people are more susceptible to listening to what we have to say and also be behind the team too whenever they're winning. I mean, that's just how it works.
Well, as you'll find out over the course of your career, like I said, I'm 61 now, been in the game 43 years since I wrote my first article that I actually got paid for. If they lose, it's your fault. If they win, you had nothing to do with it. I mean, it's just how it works. And I've learned over the years to basically deal with it by not caring at times. If they don't make the NCAA tournament, I don't travel. If they don't make a bowl, I'm home for Christmas and all that. And you learn to work it out that you just try to be fair to the fans and be objective. I always tell the story of when Patriot and I started dating again, and she was living in a suburb of Atlanta. She would listen to on the radio up here. People would call in and say, hey, you're doing a great job, or you suck. To kind of sum it up. And she said, I don't get that. I said, well, that means I'm doing a decent enough job. I don't want everybody to like me. Don't want everybody to hate me.
Yeah.
That's the kind of mentality you have in our business, especially with if things go wrong, it's always our fault.
Yep. Well, Dudley, we'll get you out of here. Tomorrow, I am going to do a special post-game show 30 minutes after the Arkansas-Missouri game, kind of wrap up the season as well. Since we won't have a pregame, I'm going to do a post-game. I'll share the link on all of our social media websites and also on the Hogville website as well, so you guys can jump on with me. We'll just kind of hash out what happens in Como tomorrow. May have some special guests.
I'm going to be all to drink. How much drink wants to talk?
Yeah, well, we all know how much he loves to talk anyway. So
I'm going to score again.
My gosh, you know what? It might benefit him if he, keeps talking and that tongue freezes up for a while and he may not be able to say anything. I mean, so I think that might be beneficial for everybody, and then let it thaw out during post game. So, well, again, tomorrow we'll be on. I'll be on here 30 minutes after the Razorback game. So that if you guys want to jump on, we'll have some special guests that jump on with us as well. And We'll see you tomorrow. Again, cold, rainy day tomorrow, 2:30 on SEC Network for the Razorbacks. And we'll see you all next Friday. This has been the Arkansas Diamond Report with Dudley Dawson. Take care, and thanks, y'all. Go Hogs.